Imagine this. You walk into a room, you give your best, and instead of appreciation, someone throws words meant to cut you down. Your chest tightens, your mind races, and everything inside you screams to fight back. But here's the truth most people never hear. Your real power is not in the noise you make. It's in the silence you choose. The world will test you. People will disrespect you, and not everyone will value you the way you deserve. But what separates the strong from the ordinary is not how loud they shout. It's how calm they remain when the storm comes. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you a perspective that could change the way you handle disrespect forever. A perspective that doesn't just protect your energy, but builds your strength, your focus, and your respect in the eyes of others. If you've ever felt the urge to react, to defend yourself, to prove your worth to someone who never deserved an explanation in the first place, then this message is for you. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear is not just advice, it's a strategy for peace, for power, and for living a life above the noise. Silence protects your energy in ways most people don't realize until they've experienced it. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct might be to fire back, to defend yourself, or to make sure they understand they cannot treat you that way. But the truth is, every time you react to disrespect, you hand over a piece of your energy, and that exchange rarely works in your favor. Think about it. Arguing with someone who has no intention of understanding you just drains you. Explaining yourself to someone who has already decided to belittle you is like shouting into an empty room. Your words bounce back, but your energy disappears. Silence, however, is your shield. It is not surrender. It is a conscious choice to protect what is valuable inside you, your peace, your stability, your focus. When you stay quiet after disrespect, you're sending a powerful message not to the other person, but to yourself. You're reminding yourself that not everyone deserves access to your emotions. Not everyone has earned the privilege of hearing your side. You are not required to explain your worth or argue your value to someone who clearly doesn't see it. Silence becomes your way of saying, I will not let you disturb my inner world. That kind of strength builds confidence, because instead of wasting hours replaying arguments in your mind, you move forward with your energy intact, ready to invest it in something that actually matters. Protecting your energy means understanding that your mind, your peace, and your emotional balance are like currency. Every time you give them away to disrespectful words, you end up bankrupt in areas of your life where that strength was needed. Your goals, your relationships, your dreams. Silence ensures that you don't lose yourself in someone else's storm. It teaches you the discipline of keeping calm when your heart wants to rage. It gives you the power to walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're smart enough to know that engaging would cost too much. Think of silence as a filter. It separates what deserves your attention from what deserves to be ignored. Most disrespect is rooted in insecurity, in jealousy, in someone else's lack of self-control. Why should you waste your energy fighting battles that were never about you in the first place? When you stay quiet, you're not pretending it didn't happen. You're simply refusing to carry their poison into your life. You're refusing to let their words rent space in your mind. The beauty of silence is that it protects you while also revealing the truth. The person who disrespected you will eventually notice that they didn't get the reaction they wanted. They'll realize their words fell flat, and they'll be forced to sit with themselves instead of feeding off your energy. Meanwhile, you remain centered, strong, and untouched. That is what true self-respect looks like. Not every action deserves a reaction, and this truth can transform the way you carry yourself in life. When someone disrespects you, mocks you, or tries to bring you down, your natural urge is to defend your pride, to stand up and prove them wrong. But the reality is, reacting to everything only drains your energy and keeps you stuck in cycles that add no value to your life. Not every insult, not every negative comment, and not every petty move from others is worth the gift of your attention. When you learn to let go of the need to respond, you begin to rise above the noise and protect your dignity. People often misunderstand silence as weakness, but in truth, it is one of the most powerful responses you can give. When you choose not to react, you are not allowing the other person to dictate your emotions. You are showing them, without words, that their behavior is beneath you. The moment you engage, you give them power. You confirm that they have the ability to affect your state of mind. But when you stay calm and refuse to respond, you send a stronger message that your self-control is greater than their disrespect. Life is too short to waste explaining yourself to people who don't care to understand. The person who disrespected you likely wasn't looking for clarity or truth. They were looking for a reaction. They wanted to shake your confidence, to see you flinch, to pull you down to their level. But by holding your silence, you deny them that satisfaction. You rob them of their victory. Your stillness becomes your strength, and your refusal to react becomes a reminder that your value isn't determined by their words or actions. Think about how many times in the past you wasted energy on arguments that didn't matter. Hours of frustration, sleepless nights replaying the same words, and the end result was nothing but stress. You walked away feeling empty, and the other person often walked away unchanged. That is the trap of unnecessary reactions. When you recognize that not every action deserves a reaction, you free yourself from that trap. You begin to understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. Your silence becomes your choice, not your defeat. The truth is, the world is always watching how you respond. When you stay quiet in the face of disrespect, you're showing others that you are not easily moved, that you operate at a higher standard. People respect the person who doesn't get caught up in petty battles. They admire the calm that comes from inner strength. You're not ignoring reality. You're choosing to value your time, your energy, and your future over meaningless conflict. When you stop reacting to every little action, you open space for what really matters. You can redirect that energy toward your goals, your growth, and your dreams. Instead of getting stuck in someone else's negativity, you build momentum in your own path. Silence becomes your weapon, not to harm others, but to protect yourself. And that kind of discipline is what separates the strong from the weak, the focus from the distracted, and the successful from the ordinary. Self-control is strength. And nowhere does this truth shine brighter than in the moments you are disrespected. Anyone can lash out when they feel hurt. Anyone can raise their voice, argue, or try to strike back when someone crosses a line. But it takes a different level of discipline to remain calm, collected, and grounded when someone is trying to shake you. That calmness is not weakness. It is a power very few people have, and when you master it, you gain control not only over the situation, but over yourself. Think about the times you lost control in the past. Maybe you yelled. Maybe you said things you didn't mean. Maybe you gave the other person the satisfaction of seeing you unravel. What was left afterward? Guilt, exhaustion, and the realization that nothing truly changed. Your reaction may have even made the other person feel justified in their disrespect. Now think about the moments where you held your tongue, where you refused to let anger take the wheel. Those moments left you with dignity. They left you standing taller, not because you won an argument, but because you won yourself. That is the real victory. Choosing control when chaos invites you to lose it. Self-control is not about ignoring your emotions. It is about mastering them. It is the awareness that your anger is real, your hurt is valid, but you don't owe those feelings to anyone else in the heat of the moment. You don't need to prove your worth through shouting or arguing. You don't need to let your emotions bleed into places where they only serve to make you weaker. The strongest people are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who know when silence speaks louder than rage. When you demonstrate self-control after being disrespected, you are making a statement that no one has the power to pull you out of character. You are showing that your peace is too valuable to be thrown away for the sake of a reaction. This kind of discipline builds an aura around you. People begin to notice that you cannot be easily provoked, that your strength is not in your words, but in your restraint. And over time, this earns you more respect than any angry outburst ever could. In life, you cannot control how people treat you, but you can always control how you respond. That's where your true power lies. Self-control is the difference between temporary satisfaction and long-term growth. It's the decision to invest in your future rather than waste yourself on the present moment's frustration. It's the choice to rise above rather than sink down. And every time you choose self-control, you are training your mind and spirit to become unshakable. The strongest warriors are not those who fight every battle. They are the ones who know which battles are worth fighting and which are best left unanswered. Self-control after disrespect is not letting someone walk over you. It is standing so firmly in your own strength that their words bounce off you without leaving a mark. That is true power. That is true strength. Let actions speak louder than words is a principle that transforms the way you deal with disrespect. When someone disrespects you, the temptation is to explain yourself, to fight back with words, to prove that you deserve better treatment. But words, no matter how powerful, can easily be twisted, ignored, or forgotten. Actions, on the other hand, are undeniable. They leave a lasting imprint that no amount of argument can erase. By choosing to remain silent in the face of disrespect and letting your life, your work, and your results do the talking, you demonstrate a strength that no insult can diminish. When you respond to disrespect with silence followed by action, you create a contrast that people cannot overlook. Instead of lowering yourself to petty arguments, you rise above and continue moving forward. Over time, your growth, your achievements, and your composure reveal the truth far better than any words ever could. The people who disrespected you are left with nothing to hold on to because while they were busy throwing shade, you were busy building a future. While they wasted energy tearing down, you invested energy in rising higher. That is how actions cut deeper than any comeback ever could. There is a saying that people may forget what you said, but they will not forget what you did. Imagine facing disrespect at work, in relationships, or even among friends. If you fight back with words, the conflict escalates, but little changes. If you let your actions show that you are consistent, disciplined, and focused, the very same people who doubted or disrespected you eventually realize their words carry no weight against your reality. Success silences critics in a way that arguing never will. Letting actions speak louder than words is not about staying passive or allowing others to treat you poorly. It's about knowing where to place your energy. Every second spent on fighting someone's disrespect is a second stolen from your goals, your growth, and your peace. But every second invested into action, into building, improving, and proving through results creates undeniable evidence of who you truly are. Your actions become a shield that no insult can penetrate because they show the truth without you having to utter a single word. There is also a deeper strength in letting actions speak because it keeps your dignity intact. You are not dragged into the mud. You are not stained by the bitterness of someone else's insecurities. Instead, you rise above and let your life tell the story. In the long run, people remember how you handled yourself, not how loudly you argued. They remember the grace you carried, the resilience you displayed, and the achievements you earned despite the noise around you. That is what builds lasting respect. So when disrespect comes your way, remember that silence is not surrender. It is strategy. And the best strategy is to let your results prove the truth. Keep moving forward. Keep showing up. Keep building. Because the loudest response you will ever give is not in your words, but in the undeniable power of your actions. Silence builds respect over time, even though in the moment it may feel like you are letting someone get away with their words. The truth is, when you stay quiet after disrespect, you are showing a level of maturity and discipline that most people don't have. Anyone can fire back with insults. Anyone can argue, shout, or try to prove a point. But it takes strength to remain calm and walk away with dignity. That calmness plants a seed in the minds of others. At first, they may not recognize it, but with time, they begin to see that you are someone who cannot be rattled, someone who values peace over drama, someone whose silence speaks louder than conflict ever could. That kind of composure earns respect, both from those who disrespected you and from those who witnessed how you handled it. Respect isn't built in a single moment. It's built through patterns of behavior. When people see that you consistently choose silence over chaos, they realize you operate at a higher standard. They may not admit it out loud, but deep down they recognize your strength. Disrespect is often a test, sometimes intentional, sometimes not. People want to see how far they can push you, how quickly they can make you break. But when you remain calm, you show them their words have no power over you. And over time, even the boldest critic comes to understand that silence isn't weakness, it's control. Silence also makes people think. When you don't react, you leave them with their own words. They are forced to sit with the weight of what they said, and without your reaction to distract them, the reality of their behavior eventually sinks in. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their actions back at them. And while they deal with that, you continue forward with peace. That is how respect is built, not by demanding it, but by showing that you don't need to fight for it. You live in a way that naturally commands it. The beauty of silence is that it not only earns you respect from others, but also from yourself. Every time you hold your peace, you prove to yourself that you are in control of your emotions. You show yourself that you are not desperate for validation or approval. This self-respect radiates outward, and people can feel it. They see that you are not easily swayed by negativity, that you are grounded and strong. Respect from others often starts with respect for yourself, and silence after disrespect is one of the clearest demonstrations of that. With time, the same people who once tried to shake you will have no choice but to acknowledge your strength. They may never say it, but they will know it. They will learn that your silence is not emptiness. It is power. They will learn that you do not need to lower yourself to their level to win. And the ones who matter, the ones who value true strength, will respect you even more for it. That is the lasting reward of silence. It may not feel satisfying in the moment, but in the long run, it builds a reputation of dignity, control, and quiet strength that no one can deny. When you choose silence after disrespect, you are not letting anyone win over you. You are winning over yourself. You are proving that your peace matters more than their chaos. Your growth matters more than their opinion. And your future matters more than a temporary reaction. Silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the strength to rise above what was meant to pull you down. It is the reminder that not every battle deserves your presence. Not every word deserves your energy. And not every person deserves your response. By staying quiet, you protect your energy. You hold yourself control. You let your actions do the talking, and you build a respect that time itself cannot erase. So the next time disrespect comes your way, remember this: you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away with your head high and your spirit unshaken. Your silence speaks volumes, and those volumes echo far longer than any argument ever could. I want to leave you with this: protect your peace, value your energy, and keep choosing the higher road. Because every time you do, you are shaping a stronger, wiser, and more unshakable version of yourself. Good luck on your journey. May you continue to walk with dignity, rise with strength, and silence every storm with the power of your calm. Thank you for listening, and remember, You are stronger than any disrespect that comes your way.